Late afternoon light bleeds through the windows of Silver Creek Diner in Flagstaff, Arizona. October sun hangs low, painting the desert in burnt orange and deep crimson. The smell of coffee and fried onions drifts through the air, mixing with the creak of old ceiling fans spinning slow circles overhead. Outside, wind kicks up red dust, rattling the faded sign that reads, Best Pie in Northern Arizona since 1987. Inside, the diner feels frozen in time. Vinyl booths patched with duct tape, laminate tables sticky from years of spilled syrup. A jukebox in the corner plays nothing because nobody's fed it quarters in months. Only a handful of customers occupy the space. An elderly couple in the corner booth eating in silence. A trucker at the counter, hat pulled low, nursing black coffee. Mr. Garrison, the owner, wiping down surfaces with the same gray rag he's used for a decade. And at a table too tall for her sits Lila Porter, 9 years old. Skinny legs dangling from the chair, sneakers scuffed and untied. Brown hair pulled into a lopsided ponytail, strands falling loose around her face. She wears a faded blue hoodie 2 sizes too big, sleeves rolled up to her elbows, and clutches a worn sketchbook like it's the most valuable thing in the world. Lila draws, pencil scratching paper, a woman with a smile, not just any smile, her mother's smile. The one Lila sees so rarely she has to imagine it most days. She glances at the door. Empty. Back to her drawing. The woman in the sketch looks tired but happy. Laugh lines around eyes that have seen too much. Lila adds details. Small earrings. The necklace with the broken clasp. The sweater with the hole in the sleeve her mom refuses to throw away. Still waiting, sweetheart? Mr. Garrison asks, pausing near her table. Lila nods without looking up. Mom's coming, she just texted. Traffic's bad on 40. Always is this time of day. He sets down a glass of chocolate milk she didn't order. On the house. Thank you, Mr. Garrison. He shuffles away. Lila sips the milk, tastes the powdered mix not fully dissolved, and doesn't mind. She's used to waiting. Used to afternoons in this diner. Used to her mom being late because 2 jobs don't leave room for being on time. Maggie Porter works the day shift at Flagstaff Medical Center, nights and weekends at the Safeway on Route 66. Single mother, no family nearby, no backup plan, just grinding forward one shift at a time, trying to keep the lights on and food in the fridge, and her daughter believing the world isn't as hard as it actually is. Lila flips the page, starts a new drawing, this time wings. She's been obsessed with wings lately. Bird wings, angel wings, anything that suggests escape or protection or both. She sketches carefully, tongue poking out between her teeth in concentration. The bell above the door jingles. Lila glances up. Just a man in a feed store cap, not her mom. She goes back to drawing. Outside, the wind picks up. Dust swirls in the parking lot. A tumbleweed rolls past. The sun sinks lower. And then from somewhere distant, a sound. Low, rhythmic, growing louder. Engines, not car engines, not the grinding diesel of semi-trucks. Something deeper, more primal. The kind of sound that vibrates through the ground before it reaches your ears. Mr. Garrison freezes mid-wipe. The trucker at the counter straightens. The elderly couple stops eating. The rumble grows. Closer now. Unmistakable. Motorcycles. Lila looks up from her drawing. Curious. She's heard motorcycles before, but never like this. Never so many at once. Never so loud they make the water glass on her table tremble. The sound peaks, then cuts. Silence. For 3 heartbeats, nothing. Just the wind and the creaking fan. Then the door explodes open, not violently, but with such presence it might as well be. Cold desert air rushes in, carrying the smell of leather and motor oil and road dust. And filling the doorway, 6 men. Tall, broad, wrapped in black leather jackets covered in patches. Heavy boots caked with dirt from 1,000 miles. Gloves, thick beards, tattoos crawling up necks and across knuckles. Sunglasses even though the sun is already dying outside. Hell's Angels. The elderly woman in the corner booth gasps and clutches her husband's hand. The trucker at the counter goes rigid, eyes locked on his coffee. Mr. Garrison takes a half step backward, rag dropping to the floor. But Lila just stares, wide-eyed, not with fear, with fascination. The first man through the doors is the tallest, 6'4", maybe more. Salt and pepper beard, thick as a fist. Steel blue eyes visible even behind his sunglasses. His jacket bears more patches than the others. Skull with wings. Phoenix chapter. 1%. Briggs embroidered across the chest. Briggs. He scans the diner with the practiced efficiency of someone who has walked into 1,000 rooms and instantly cataloged every exit, every threat, every variable. His gaze passes over the elderly couple, the trucker, Mr. Garrison, and lands for just a fraction of a second on Lila. She doesn't look away. Briggs removes his sunglasses, eyes like chips of flint. Then he nods to the others and moves deeper into the diner, boots thudding on linoleum like war drums. The 5 men behind him follow, a younger one with curly hair tied back, an older one with a silver beard down to his chest, one with a thick black beard and hands like concrete blocks, another with long hair and a scar cutting through his left eyebrow. The last one, shorter, wiry face, hard as desert stone. They take the large corner booth, the one closest to Lila's table. Barely 6 feet away, the booth creaks under their combined weight. Leather jackets shift and settle. Gloves come off. One by one, they remove their sunglasses and Lila sees their eyes. Hard. Tired. Eyes that have seen things she can't imagine. Mr. Garrison approaches, hands shaking so badly he can barely hold his order pad. What can I get you, gentlemen? Briggs doesn't look at him, just raises 2 fingers. 6 waters. Coffee. Black. Yes, sir. Right away. Garrison scurries to the counter. The trucker slides off his stool and heads for the door without finishing his coffee. The elderly couple leaves cash on the table and exits without a word. In 30 seconds, the diner empties. Everyone gone except Mr. Garrison behind the counter and Lila at her table. Still drawing, still curious. The man with the silver beard leans forward to elbows on the table. We're close, he mutters. Low enough most people wouldn't hear. But Lila's table is so near she catches every word. Route matches. Time frame matches. Briggs nods once. She's around here. Has to be. Also, 12 years, the curly-haired one says. Name's Cody. Lila doesn't know this yet, but she will. Long time to carry a debt. Doesn't matter how long. Briggs's voice is gravel rolling down a hill. We find her. We settle it. The one with the thick beard speaks. What if she doesn't want to be found? Then we make sure she knows she's protected and we leave. Briggs taps the table once. But we find her first. Lila tilts her head, listening. She doesn't understand what they're talking about. Who are they looking for? Why? She looks back at her sketchbook. Then at Briggs, specifically at his left arm. The leather jacket sleeve is pushed up just enough to reveal ink. A tattoo, large, detailed. A skull wearing a helmet, wings spread wide, every feather sharp and black as night. The detail is extraordinary, almost 3-dimensional. Lila's artist eye catches it immediately, and her breath stops, because she's seen that tattoo before. Not exactly the same. Smaller, faded, but unmistakable. On her mother's wrist. Lila stares. Her pencil hovers above the page. She tries to remember. Yes, definitely. Mom has a tattoo just like that. Skull, helmet, wings. Mom never talks about it. Whenever Lila asks, Mom just says, it's from a long time ago, baby. I'll tell you when you're older. But here it is, on this man's arm. This big, scary-looking man who just walked into the diner and made everyone else leave. Lila doesn't think. She just speaks. Hello, sir. Her voice cuts through the low conversation like a bell in the desert. Every head at the table turns. 6 pairs of eyes lock onto her. Lila doesn't flinch. She smiles. Innocent. Polite. The way her mom taught her. My mom has a tattoo just like yours. The world stops. Not metaphorically. It actually feels like time fractures. The ceiling fan freezes mid-turn. The coffee pot stops dripping. Mr. Garrison's hand reaching for a cup hangs in the air. Briggs doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Just stares at the small girl with the lopsided ponytail and the oversized hoodie. Then slowly he turns his head, not fast, not threatening, but with the precision of a man who needs to be absolutely certain he heard correctly. What did you say? His voice is low, controlled, but underneath something shifts, something old and buried stirring awake. Lila points at his arm. Your tattoo, the skull with wings. My mom has one just like it. Cody's hand moves to his belt, not to a weapon, just instinct. The silver-bearded man leans forward. The one with the scar sits back, eyes narrowing. Mr. Garrison takes a step toward Lila, hand raised. Lila, sweetheart, don't. But Briggs raises one hand, a simple gesture. No words. But it stops Garrison in his tracks. Briggs turns fully in his seat, facing Lila now, elbows on his knees, eyes locked on hers. Your mom has a tattoo like this, Lila nods. Yes, sir, right here. She points to her own left wrist. It's smaller, but it's the same. Skull and wings and everything. The air in the diner thickens, not with danger, with weight. The weight of something enormous and unexpected crashing into the present. The man with the thick beard whispers, no way. The silver-bearded one mutters, can't be coincidence. Briggs doesn't move. His jaw tightens. Then he speaks. Slow, careful. What's your mom's name? Lila sits up straighter, proud. Maggie Porter. The name lands like a stone in still water. Ripples spread, silent, invisible. But everyone at the table feels them. Cody exhales sharply. The silver-bearded man's eyes widen. The one with the scar leans forward, mouth opening. And Briggs closes his eyes, just for a moment. When he opens them again, they're different, still hard, but something else beneath. Recognition, memory, disbelief. Porter, he says softly, almost to himself. Then louder to the others, Maggie Porter. The silver-bearded man slaps the table. Not hard, just emphasis. I knew that name sounded familiar. Cody runs a hand through his curly hair. Boss, you thinking what I'm thinking? Briggs nods slowly, eyes never leaving Lila. Yeah, I am. Lila tilts her head confused. Do you know my mom? Briggs doesn't answer immediately. He studies her, really looks at her, the shape of her face, her eyes, the way she sits. Then he glances at the others. Silent communication. Years of riding together means they can talk without words. Finally, Briggs speaks. Kid, where's your mom's tattoo? Exactly where? Left wrist, right here. Lila taps the spot on her own wrist. And the tattoo. Does it have any marks? Anything unusual, Lila thinks. Then her face lights up. Oh yes, there's a little crack on the right wing. Mom said the tattoo guy sneezed while he was doing it and the needle slipped. The reaction is instant. Cody stands up, chair scraping back. No way. No goddamn way. The silver-bearded man grips the table edge. That's her. That's Maggie. The one with the scar lets out a low whistle. After 12 years. And Briggs just stares at Lila, face unreadable, but his hands resting on the table clench into fists. Not in anger, in something else. Something between shock and reverence. The crack on the right wing, he says quietly. Nobody knows about that except the person who got the tattoo and the person who gave it. Lila blinks. You really know my mom. Briggs doesn't answer. Instead, he looks at his crew. It's her. It's really her. The silver-bearded man shakes his head in wonder. Of all the diners in all of Arizona. Cody sits back down, running both hands through his hair now. I don't even know what this is. Lila's confusion deepens. Sir, I don't understand. How do you know my mom? Briggs turns back to her. And for the first time since walking into the diner, his expression softens. Just slightly. Just enough. Your mom, he says slowly, saved one of our brothers a long time ago. Lila's eyes widen. She did. Yeah, she did. Briggs glances at his tattoo, then at Lila's wrist where she pointed. That tattoo she has, that's not just ink. That's a promise, a mark of protection. Your mom earned it. How? Briggs leans back, exhales, like he's carrying something heavy, and just set it down for a moment. I'll tell you, but first I need to know. Where is your mom right now? Lila pulls her phone from her hoodie pocket, an old smartphone with a cracked screen. She texted 20 minutes ago. She's stuck in traffic. Should be here soon. Briggs nods. Okay, good. He looks at the others. We wait. Then he turns back to Lila, gestures to the chair across from her. Mind if I sit? Lila shakes her head. No, sir. Briggs stands, walks over, pulls out the chair. It looks tiny under him, but he sits carefully like he's trying not to scare her. Up close, Lila can see every line in his face, every scar, every year. He's older than she thought, but his eyes when they meet hers aren't cruel. They're just tired, and now curious. You said your mom never told you about the tattoo. She said she'd tell me when I'm older. Briggs nods. Smart. Some stories aren't for kids. But I'm not a baby. A hint of a smile. No, you're not. He pauses. All right. You want to know how your mom got that tattoo? Lila nods eagerly. Then I'll tell you, but you have to understand something first. His voice drops. Serious. Your mom is one of the bravest people I've ever met. And I've met a lot of people. Lila's chest swells with pride. Really? Really? And then Briggs begins. 12 years ago, Las Vegas, one of our brothers, a man named Hawk, was riding through the outskirts. He was carrying something, information, evidence against some very bad people. People who didn't want that information getting out. Lila listens completely absorbed. They ambushed him. 4 men caught him on a dirt road near an old warehouse, beat him almost to death. Hawk managed to crawl away, but he was bleeding bad. Broken ribs, torn shoulder, thought he was done. Briggs's voice is steady, factual, but underneath emotion. He dragged himself to a motel, last bit of strength he had, saw a light in one of the rooms, knocked on the door, more like collapsed into it. Lila holds her breath. The person inside could have ignored him, could have called the cops, could have been too scared to get involved. Briggs meets her eyes, but she didn't. She opened the door, saw a man covered in blood and tattoos and leather, and she pulled him inside. That was my mom. That was your mom. Lila's hands gripped the edge of the table. Maggie didn't ask questions, didn't hesitate. She used everything she had, towels, rubbing alcohol, duct tape, whatever she could find, stopped the bleeding, kept Hawk alive. The other bikers have moved closer now, standing behind Briggs, listening, even though they know this story. The men who hurt Hawk came looking, went room to room, banging on doors. When they got to your mom's room, she stood in the doorway, looked them in the eye, and lied, said she hadn't seen anyone. Cody speaks up. They believed her. Don't know why. Maybe because she looked at them like they were human. Not monsters, just people. Briggs nods. Hawk stayed in that room for 3 days. Your mom took care of him, fed him, bandaged him, kept him hidden. When he was strong enough to leave, he wanted to bring her to us, to thank her properly. But she said no. Why? Because your mom didn't want anything to do with our world. She just wanted to help someone who needed help. Briggs taps his tattoo. So Hawk gave her this, a smaller version, as a mark, a promise that any Hell's Angel who sees it knows she's protected. Forever. Lila's eyes shimmer with tears, not sad tears, proud tears. My mom did that. Your mom did that. The silver-bearded man crouches beside the table. Without her, Hawk would have died in that desert. We owe her everything. Lila wipes her eyes with her sleeve. Is Uncle Hawk here? The mood shifts, subtle, but Lila feels it. Briggs shakes his head. Hawk passed 5 years ago. Motorcycle accident. But before he died, he made us promise. If we ever found Maggie Porter, we'd make sure she knew. She saved his life. And he never forgot. Silence. Then Lila's phone rings. Everyone jumps. The ringtone, some pop song, shatters the heavy moment. Lila fumbles for it, looks at the screen. It's Mom. My Anders. Mom, are you? But before she can finish, her mother's voice cuts through, panicked, breathless. Lila, baby, listen to me. Car broke down. Route 89, there's static. The line crackles. Mom, I can't hear you. Maggie's voice comes back, shaking now. Men approaching, don't know who. Lila, don't leave the diner, stay with Mr. Garrison. The call drops. Lila stares at the phone, face pale. Mom. Briggs is already standing. What happened? She said her car broke down on Route 89, and there are men. She sounded scared. The energy in the diner shifts instantly. from reflective to operational. Briggs looks at his crew. Gear up, now. No questions, no hesitation. They move like a machine. Cody grabs his gloves. The silver-bearded man checks his phone, pulling up a map. The one with the scar heads for the door. Briggs looks down at Lila. We're going to find your mom, and we're going to make sure she's safe. Understand? Lila nods, tears streaming now. Please, please help her. We will. He turns to Mr. Garrison. Keep the diner locked. Nobody in or out until we get back. Garrison nods, too stunned to speak. Briggs looks back at Lila. You ever ridden on a motorcycle? She shakes her head. Well, you're about to. He nods to Cody. Give her your spare helmet. Cody pulls a small helmet from his saddlebag, black with white wings painted on the sides. He hands it to Lila. This was my kid sister's. It'll fit you. Lila takes it with trembling hands. Briggs crouches to her level one more time. Listen to me. We're going to ride fast. You're going to hold on tight, and you're not going to be scared, because we don't let anything happen to Maggie Porter's family. Got it? Lila nods, voice small but steady. Got it. Good girl. Outside, engines roar to life. 6 Harley-Davidsons, black and chrome headlights, blazing in the fading desert light. Lila climbs onto the back of Cody's bike. The helmet is too big, but he tightens the strap until it fits. She wraps her arms around his waist. Briggs swings onto his bike, looks back at her. Ready? Lila nods. Then let's go. The convoy pulls out of the parking lot, 6 bikes in formation. Headlights cutting through the twilight like white-hot blades. And as they accelerate onto the highway, the roar of engines shaking the desert air, Lila holds on tight, heart pounding, terrified, but also strangely safer than she's ever felt in her life. Because these men, these Hell's Angels who everyone fears, are riding into the night for one reason: to protect her mother, to repay a debt 12 years old. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is going to stop them. The highway unfolds like a black ribbon through the desert. Darkness swallows everything beyond the reach of the headlights. 6 Harleys cut through the night in perfect formation, engines growling in unison, a sound like rolling thunder that never stops. Lila clings to Cody's back. Her small hands grip the sides of his leather jacket so tightly her knuckles ache. Wind screams past her ears despite the helmet. Cold desert air bites at her exposed neck. Every bump in the road jolts through her body. But she doesn't let go. Ahead, Briggs leads. His headlight the brightest, cutting the deepest into the darkness. Behind him, 2 bikes flank left and right. Then Cody and Lila in the middle, and bringing up the rear 2 more. Protection formation. Lila doesn't know this, doesn't know that this is how they ride when something precious needs guarding. But she can feel it. The way they move together, the way no gap opens in the line, the way Cody adjusts his speed to match Briggs exactly. She's never felt so small and so safe at the same time. The silver-bearded man riding to the left shouts over the wind, Route 89 2 miles ahead. Briggs doesn't respond, just raises one hand, 2 fingers extended. A signal. The formation tightens. Lila watches the road blur beneath them. 70 miles an hour, maybe more. She can't tell. Everything is speed and sound and wind. Then she sees something, far behind them. In Cody's side mirror, headlights, a single vehicle, sedan maybe, keeping pace, not closing, not falling back, just following. Cody sees it too. He glances at his mirror, then twists slightly to check over his shoulder. Boss, he shouts into his helmet comm. Got a tail. Briggs's response crackles back. I see it. The silver-bearded man, whose name is Wade, checks his own mirror. Could be nothing. Could be, Briggs says, but it's been there since we left town. Lila's heart hammers. Sir, what's wrong? Cody's voice is calm, practiced. Nothing, kid, just keeping an eye on things. You focus on holding on. But his grip on the handlebars tightens. The highway curves. The bikes lean in sink tires, gripping asphalt. Lila squeezes her eyes shut, trusts Cody completely. When she opens them again, they're straight, and the sedan is still there. Briggs makes a decision. Wade Jackson, drop back. See if they follow you or stay with us. 2 bikes peel off. Wade and Jackson, the one with the thick beard. They let the group pull ahead until they're between the main pack and the sedan. Lila watches in the mirror. The sedan doesn't change speed, doesn't try to pass Wade and Jackson, just keeps following. Briggs's voice low and certain. Not random, Cody curses under his breath. What does that mean? Lila asks. Means we're being careful, Cody says. But his body is tense now. Alert. A mile ahead, brake lights, red glow in the darkness. Briggs slows. The pack follows. And there on the shoulder of Route 89 sits a car. Old blue sedan, hood up, and hazard lights blinking weakly. And standing beside it, illuminated by a flashlight she's holding, is Maggie Porter. Lila's breath catches. Mom. But even from this distance, even in the dark, Lila can see something's wrong. Her mom isn't alone. A man stands near her, big, stumbling, waving his arms. Even over the engine noise, Lila can hear shouting. Briggs accelerates. The pack surges forward. As they get closer, details emerge. The man is drunk, clearly drunk, swaying, holding something in his hand, a tire iron maybe, or a bottle, hard to tell. Maggie backs away from him, hands raised, trying to calm him, trying to create distance. He lurches toward her. And that's when Briggs arrives. The Harley skids to a stop, rear tire throwing gravel. Briggs is off the bike before it fully settles, moving with a speed that belies his size. The drunk turns, squinting into the headlights now flooding the scene. Who the hell? Briggs doesn't let him finish. He steps between the man and Maggie, a wall of leather and muscle and barely contained violence. Step back, Briggs says, voice low, controlled, but with an edge that could cut steel. The drunk sways, tries to focus. This ain't your business. Old man, she hit my car. She doesn't owe you anything. The other bikes arrive. 5 men dismount, form a semicircle, not aggressive, not advancing, just there, present, undeniable. The drunk looks around, realizes he's surrounded. His bravado cracks. She scratched my bumper and tried to run. You're drunk, Cody says flatly. You're harassing a woman on a dark highway, and you're about 3 seconds from a very bad decision. Maggie stands frozen, eyes wide, seeing these men, these strangers stepping in to protect her, not knowing who they are or why. Then she sees Lila. Lila pulls off her helmet and runs. Mom. Maggie drops the flashlight, catches her daughter. Baby, oh my God, baby, are you okay? Why are you with... They're helping us, Mom. They came to save you. Maggie looks up. Confusion and fear and desperate hope all tangled together. And her eyes land on Briggs. He's turned toward her now, lit by the headlights of 6 motorcycles. And for the first time, she really sees him. The leather jacket, the patches, the tattoos, the skull with wings. Her breath stops. Briggs removes his gloves slowly, holds her gaze. Hello, Maggie. She doesn't respond, can't, just stares. My name's Briggs. I ride with the Phoenix chapter of the Hells Angels. He gestures to the others. These are my brothers. Maggie's hand goes to her wrist, unconscious, covering the tattoo there. Briggs sees it, nods. Yeah, that one. I don't understand. Your daughter has a way of speaking up at interesting times. He glances at Lila. Mentioned your tattoo in a diner about 40 minutes ago. Soon as I heard the name Maggie Porter, I knew. Maggie's legs almost give out. She sinks to her knees, still holding Lila. You're friends of Hawk. The name breaks something in her. She covers her mouth. Tears spill. Hawk, she whispers. Yeah. Behind them, Wade has the drunk sitting on the ground now, hands behind his back, not cuffed, not hurt, just controlled. The man is crying, apologizing, realizing how close he came to something much worse than a car scratch. Jackson is on the phone with 911, calm, professional. Yeah, we've got a drunk driver who was threatening a woman. Route 89, mile marker 12. No one's hurt. We're just keeping him here until you arrive. But then headlights appear from the direction the bikers came. The sedan that was following them. It pulls to a stop, 50 yards back, engine running. Briggs notices immediately. His posture changes. Not panic, just heightened awareness. Wade, he says quietly, eyes on that sedan. Wade turns, squints into the darkness. Two occupants, can't see faces. The sedan's doors open. Two men step out. They don't approach, just stand there, watching. Even from this distance, something about them feels wrong. Too still, too deliberate. Cody moves closer to Lila and Maggie, protective. Briggs steps forward, not aggressive, just positioning himself between the women and the unknown men. "Can we help you, gentlemen?" Briggs calls out, voice carrying across the desert night. No response. The two men just stand there, silhouettes against their headlights. Then one of them speaks, voice carrying on the wind. "We're just making sure the lady's okay." The words are polite, but the tone isn't. Briggs doesn't move. "She's fine. We've got it handled." "That's good to hear." A pause. "We've been looking for her for a while now." The air changes, electric, dangerous. Maggie goes rigid. Her grip on Lila tightens. "Mom," Lila whispers. "Who are they?" Maggie's voice is barely audible. "I don't know," but her face says otherwise. Briggs glances back, catches Maggie's expression, then turns forward again. "I think you gentlemen have the wrong person," Briggs says, steady, calm. "Don't think so." The man takes a step forward, just one. "Maggie Porter, used to live in Vegas, 2012. Ring any bells?" Maggie's breath comes in short gasps. Briggs's jaw tightens. "Whatever business you think you have, it's done. She's under our protection now." A dark laugh from the shadows. "Your protection? You don't even know what she did." "Don't need to. She saved one of ours. That makes her family." "She's also a witness to something that could put some very important people in very bad places." Silence. Then Briggs says very quietly, "That sounds like a you problem." The tension ratchets up another notch. Wade and Jackson move to flank Briggs. The other bikers spread out, creating a wall between Maggie and the two men. Lila can feel her mom shaking. "Mom, what's happening?" Maggie pulls her close, whispers in her ear, "Baby, I need you to stay quiet. Stay close to me. Don't move unless I tell you to." The man from the sedan takes another step. "We're not here to cause trouble. We just want to talk to her, clear some things up." "She doesn't want to talk," Briggs says. "How do you know you're her spokesman now?" "Yeah, I am." The man considers this, then looks past Briggs directly at Maggie. "Is that true, Maggie? You don't want to talk about what you saw that night?" "What you heard." Maggie's voice when it comes is stronger than Lila expected. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do. You were there, in that motel, when our associate came looking for someone." "I didn't see anything." "That's not what we heard." Briggs takes a step forward. "This conversation is over. You want to talk to her, you go through the proper channels. Get a lawyer, make it official, but right now on this road in the dark, you don't get near her." The second man who hasn't spoken yet finally does. His voice is colder, more dangerous. "You're making this complicated." "No," Briggs says. "I'm making it simple. You leave now or we have a problem." 6 against 2. The man almost sounds amused. "You think we're alone?" Briggs doesn't turn around. "My brothers are 3 minutes behind us. Another dozen bikes. You want to wait for them be my guest?" It's a bluff. Lila can tell, but it's a good one. The two men exchange a look, a silent conversation. Then in the distance, sirens, the police coming for the drunk driver. The first man smiles, not a nice smile. "Another time, then." "There won't be another time," Briggs says. "We'll see." The two men get back in their sedan. The engine revs, and they drive away. Not fast, not fleeing, just leaving, like they have all the time in the world. Briggs doesn't move until their taillights disappear around a curve. Then he turns, looks at Maggie. "You want to tell me what that was about?" Maggie is crying now, full sobs. Lila holds her mom, confused and scared. I thought it was over." Maggie manages. "I thought they'd forgotten." "Who are they?" "I don't know their names, but they work for the people who wanted Hawk dead, the ones I lied to." Briggs's expression darkens. "They've been looking for you this whole time." "I guess so. I changed my name after I left Vegas, moved around, tried to disappear." She looks at Lila. "I thought I'd kept her safe." "You did," Briggs says firmly, "and you still are. Because they're not getting near you. Not now, not ever. The police cruisers arrive. Two of them. Officers step out, taking in the scene. The drunk on the ground, 6 bikers, a woman and child. The lead officer, a woman in her 40s, approaches Briggs. What's the situation here? Briggs keeps it simple. Drunk driver was harassing this woman. We stopped to help. He's all yours. The officer looks skeptical. And that's it? That's it. She studies him. Then Maggie. Ma'am, is that accurate? Maggie nods. Yes. They helped me. You know these men? Maggie hesitates, then says they're old friends. The officer doesn't look convinced, but she nods. All right, we will take your statement, and we'll get this gentleman processed. While the police work, Wade and Jackson examine Maggie's car. Wade pops the hood, shines a flashlight inside. Jackson checks under the chassis. Battery cable's loose, Wade says, and you're low on oil, real low. I can't afford a tow, Maggie says quietly. Don't need one. Wade pulls tools from his saddlebag. Give me 10 minutes. Jackson produces a quart of oil from his own pack. Always carry spares. They work quickly, efficiently, like they've done this 100 times before. Lila watches amazed. These big, tough men with their rough hands and intimidating appearance, working on her mom's car like it's the most natural thing in the world. Cody notices her staring. When you ride cross-country, kid, you learn to fix anything. Otherwise, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. You're like superheroes, Lila says. He laughs. Nah, just guys who know how to use a wrench. But the way he says it, the pride beneath the deflection, tells her he's heard worse things said about him. And maybe being called a superhero by a 9-year-old isn't the worst thing in the world. Wade closes the hood. Try it now. Maggie turns the key. The engine turns over immediately, purrs smooth. Should get you home, no problem, Wade says, wiping his hands on a rag. But get that alternator checked soon. And keep oil in her. I will, thank you. Thank you so much. 20 minutes later, the police have taken the drunk away. Maggie's given her statement. The road is clear. Briggs approaches. Your car's fixed. You okay to drive? Yes, I think so. Good. He reaches into his jacket, pulls something from inside. A piece of cloth faded red wrapped around something. He unfolds it carefully. Inside is a patch. Old. Worn. The Hell's Angel's skull and wings embroidered in thick thread. Uneven stitches. Clearly very old. Very personal. This was Hawk's, Briggs says. After you saved him, he carried it for years. Said it reminded him that good people still exist. He holds it out. He wanted you to have it, if we ever found you. Maggie takes it with shaking hands, touches the worn fabric, the stitching done by hand. I didn't know he... She can't finish. He never forgot you, Maggie. None of us did. Lila looks at the patch, then at the tattoo on her mom's wrist, pieces falling into place. We're going to make sure you get home safe, Briggs continues, and then we're going to make sure those men don't bother you again. How? We have ways, connections, people who owe us favors. He meets her eyes. You're family now, and we protect family. Maggie nods, unable to speak. Briggs reaches into his pocket one more time, pulls out something small. A helmet, child-sized, black with hand-painted white wings on the sides. For you, he says to Lila. So you remember, you're one of us now. Lila takes it like it's made of gold, hugs it to her chest. They form up again, Maggie's car in the center, 6 Harleys surrounding it, 3 in front, 3 behind. This time Lila rides with her mom, but she watches the bikers through the window, these strange, fierce men who appeared exactly when needed. As they drive through the desert night, Maggie reaches over and takes Lila's hand. Mom, Lila says quietly. Yeah, baby. You're really brave. Maggie's tears start again. I don't feel brave. But you are. You saved someone, even though it was scary. Maggie looks at her daughter, 9 years old, already understanding so much. Sometimes being brave just means doing what's right even when you're terrified. Maggie says, Is that what you did? Yeah, that's what I did. They drive in silence for a while, the motorcycles around them like guardian angels made of steel. The convoy reaches Flagstaff just after midnight. The streets are quiet, dark. Most houses have their lights off, residents long asleep. But as they turn onto Maple Street heading toward Maggie's small house, something changes. Briggs signals. The bikes don't peel off, don't leave. They follow all the way to Maggie's driveway, and then they line up. 6 Harleys in a perfect row in front of the house. Neighbors woken by the sound of engines peek through curtains. Phones come out, recording, posting to social media. What the hell is happening on Maple Street at midnight? Maggie and Lila get out of the car, stand on their front lawn, and then Briggs does something unexpected. He nods to the others, and as one they turn on their high beams. All 6 bikes. The entire street floods with brilliant white light. So bright it looks like midday, every house illuminated, every tree casting sharp shadows. It's a salute, a declaration. This woman is under our protection. Maggie covers her mouth, overwhelmed. Lila stares mouth open. She's never seen anything like this. A neighbor opens their door, an old man in a bathrobe. What in God's name? But he stops when he sees it. The formation, the bikes, the precision, the respect. This isn't a threat. This is a ceremony. Briggs dismounts. The others follow. They approach slowly, not threatening, respectful. Briggs extends his hand to Maggie. She takes it. "Thank you," he says, "for what you did for Hawk, for all of us." "I should be thanking you," Maggie manages. "We just returned a favor." He looks down at Lila. "And made a new friend." Lila beams. Wade steps forward. "Ma'am, those men tonight, they won't be a problem anymore." "How can you be sure to, Because we're going to make some calls. Let the right people know what happened. And trust me, they don't want the kind of attention we can bring." Jackson nods. "We've got connections. People who owe us. People who can make sure you're left alone." "You don't have to do that for me." Yeah, Briggs says, "we do." Cody grins at Lila. "You take care of that helmet, kid, and you take care of your mom." "I will," Lila promises. The man with the scar, who hasn't said much all night, speaks for the first time directly to Maggie. "My name's Marcus. Hawk was my brother. Not by blood, but by choice." His voice is rough, emotional. "What you did for him, there aren't words, but I want you to know. You saved the best man I ever knew." Maggie's tears flow freely now. "I wish I could have seen him again." "Told him." "He knew," Marcus says. "He talked about you all the time. The woman who saved him. The woman who proved the world isn't all bad." The last biker, the quiet one, steps forward. "Name's Tommy. I just want to echo what Marcus said. You're family now. That means something to us. That means everything." Briggs checks his watch. "We should get going. Let these folks sleep." He turns to Maggie one last time, pulls a card from his wallet. Just a phone number. No name. "If you ever need anything, and I mean anything, you call, day or night. We'll come." Maggie takes the card with trembling fingers. "I don't know what to say." "Don't need to say anything." He mounts his bike. The others do the same. Engines roar to life one final time. The sound echoing off houses, dogs barking, more lights coming on, and slowly, ceremoniously, they ride away. Down Maple Street, around the corner, into the night. The sound of their engines fades gradually, until there's only silence. Maggie and Lila stand there for a long moment, neighbors slowly closing curtains and going back to bed. The old man in the bathrobe gives Maggie a nod before disappearing inside. Lila looks down at the helmet in her hands, touches the painted wings. Maggie looks at the patch Briggs gave her. Hawk's patch. "Mom," Lila whispers. "Yeah, baby." "What just happened?" Maggie pulls her daughter close. "Something I never expected. Something I didn't know I needed." "Are we really safe now?" "Yeah, I think we are." They go inside, lock the door. For the first time, Maggie doesn't check it 3 times. Doesn't peer out the window to make sure no one's watching. She just trusts. Inside, warm light spills from the living room lamp. Maggie sets Hawk's patch on the coffee table. Lila places her helmet beside it. They sit on the couch together. Neither one ready for bed yet. Too much adrenaline, too many emotions. "Mom," Lila's voice is soft. "Yeah, sweetheart." "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Maggie looks at her daughter. Really looks at her. 9 years old. old enough to understand more than Maggie gives her credit for. I was scared, Maggie admits. Of what? That if I told you about that night, you'd think I was reckless or foolish, or that I'd put myself in danger for no reason. Maggie's voice cracks. And I was scared those men would find me. Find us. Lila frowns. But you saved someone. I know. But I also lied to dangerous people. Hit a man they were hunting, risked our safety. Maggie looks at her hands. What if they'd found him? What if they'd hurt me? Then where would you be? Lila doesn't answer right away. She just scoots closer, leans her head on her mom's shoulder. You did the right thing, Lila says finally. And I think Uncle Hawk would say the same thing. Maggie's tears come then, not quiet ones, big shaking sobs that she's been holding in for 12 years. Sobs for the fear she carried, for the loneliness of keeping secrets, for the weight of always looking over her shoulder. Lila wraps her arms around her mom, holds her tight, like she's the parent now. They sit like that for a long time. Eventually Maggie pulls back, wipes her eyes. I should have told you sooner. It's okay, Mom. No, it's not. Maggie takes a deep breath. You deserve to know. All of it. Lila sits up straighter, listening, and Maggie begins to tell her the whole story. Not just about Hawk, but about everything that came before. When I was 21, I wasn't living in Flagstaff. I was in Las Vegas, working as a nursing intern at a small clinic, barely making rent, living in a tiny room near a cheap motel. Lila nods. She's heard some of this before, but never the full truth. I was married then, Maggie continues, to your father. Lila's eyes widen. Maggie almost never talks about her dad. He wasn't a good man, Lila. He drank, got angry, hit me. Lila's breath catches. Her small hand reaches for her mom's. I stayed because I thought I had to, because I thought it was my fault, that if I just tried harder, he'd change. Maggie shakes her head, but he didn't. He got worse. The drinking got worse. The anger got worse. What happened? One night he hurt me so badly I blacked out. When I woke up, I was alone. He'd left. Didn't come back for 2 days. And when he did, he acted like nothing happened. Like I'd made it all up. Maggie's hands clench into fists, the memory still raw even after 12 years. I knew I had to leave, but I was scared. Scared he'd find me. Scared I couldn't make it on my own. Scared of everything. But you did leave, Lila says. A statement, not a question. I did. Took everything I could carry in one backpack. Left in the middle of the night while he was passed out. Got that motel room with what little money I'd been hiding. Started over. Lila squeezes her mom's hand. Maggie squeezes back. And then 2 weeks later, Hawk knocked on my door. The night you saved him. Yeah. Maggie closes her eyes, remembering. He was covered in blood, could barely stand, one eye swollen shut, ribs broken. I could hear the rattle in his breathing. I didn't think, I just pulled him inside because I knew what it felt like to need help and have no one come. Lila's voice is small. Because of what Dad did to you. Yeah. Maggie opens her eyes, looks at her daughter. When I saw Hawk bleeding on my doorstep, I remembered all the times I'd needed someone to save me. And no one did. I couldn't do that to someone else. So you helped him. I did everything I could, which wasn't much. Towels, rubbing alcohol, duct tape, some gauze I'd taken from the clinic. I stopped the bleeding, splinted what I thought might be broken, gave him water, covered him with my only blanket. Maggie's voice grows stronger, more certain. And when those men came looking for him, when they banged on my door and demanded I let them in, I didn't freeze. I didn't panic. I looked them in the eyes and lied. Told them I hadn't seen anyone, hadn't heard anything. Were you scared? Terrified, my hands were shaking so bad I had to hide them behind my back. My heart was pounding so loud I thought they could hear it, but I didn't let them see my fear. Why did they believe you? Maggie thinks about this. Maybe because I looked at them like people, not monsters, just men. Dangerous men, yes, but still just men. I didn't act like a victim. I acted like someone who belonged there, someone with nothing to hide. But you did have something to hide. Yeah, I did. The best thing I ever hid. Lila is quiet for a moment, processing. Then she says, "You're the bravest person I know, Mom." Maggie laughs, a wet broken sound. "I don't feel brave." "But you are. You left Dad. You saved Uncle Hawk. You raised me all by yourself. You're so brave." And maybe, just maybe, Maggie starts to believe it. They sit in silence for a while, the house settling around them, the refrigerator humming, the wind outside dying down. Then Lila says, "Mom, can I draw something?" "Of course, sweetheart." Lila jumps up, runs to her room, returns with her sketchbook and the big box of colored pencils Maggie saved up to buy her last Christmas. She sits on the floor, opens to a blank page, and starts drawing. Maggie watches, curious, proud. Slowly, a picture takes shape. 6 motorcycles, lined up in a row, each one detailed with careful attention. Headlights blazing, chrome gleaming, and in front of them, standing tall, a man in a leather jacket, beard, tattoos covering his arms, eyes that look kind even though his face is hard. Lila adds wings, not on his back, but around him, surrounding him, protective, like he's the angel, not the person he's protecting. When she's done, she holds it up. "Mr. Briggs," she says. Maggie smiles through fresh tears. "It's beautiful, honey. Can we give it to him? I'm sure he'd love that." Lila nods, satisfied. Then she adds one more thing at the bottom of the page. In her careful practice letters, "Thank you for saving my mom." Maggie covers her mouth, unable to speak. Lila sets the drawing aside carefully, crawls onto the couch, curls up next to her mom like she's 5 years old again instead of 9. "I'm glad they found us," she whispers. "Me too, baby. Me too." They sit like that mother and daughter, wrapped in the warmth of safety they didn't know they'd been missing. The kind of safety that doesn't come from locks and alarms, but from knowing there are people in the world who will stand between you and danger. Eventually, Lila yawns, eyes heavy, the adrenaline finally wearing off. "Bedtime," Maggie says gently. "Okay." They go upstairs together. Maggie tucks Lila in. The small helmet with painted wings sits on the nightstand. Lila reaches out and touches it one more time before settling under the covers. "Mom?" "Yeah, baby?" "Do you think we'll see them again?" Maggie brushes hair from Lila's face, studies her daughter's features, the trust in her eyes, the peace on her face. "I don't know, but I think if we ever need them, they'll come." Lila smiles, eyes already closing. "Good. And even if we never see them again, we'll always know they exist, that there are people like that in the world." "People like Uncle Hawk was?" "Yeah, like Uncle Hawk." Lila's breathing deepens, slows, almost asleep. "Mom?" One more whisper. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm not scared of the dark anymore." Maggie's throat tightens. "Why not, baby?" "Because I know the light always comes. Maybe not right away, but it always comes." Maggie kisses her forehead, holds it there for a long moment. "Sleep well, my brave girl." "Good night, Mom." Maggie turns off the light, leaves the door cracked just how Lila likes it. Light from the hallway spilling in. Downstairs, she sits at the kitchen table, Hawk's patch in front of her. She unfolds it again, studies every stitch, every thread, imagines Hawk wearing it, imagines him alive, riding, free. She picks up her phone. The card Briggs gave her sits beside it. She types the number in, hesitates, then sends a message. "Thank you for everything. You'll never know what tonight meant to us." She sets the phone down, doesn't expect a response. It's late. They're probably miles away by now, but a minute later the phone buzzes. "We know exactly what it meant. That's why we came. Stay safe, Maggie. You've got family now. Those men won't bother you again. We made sure of it." Maggie reads it 3 times, then a fourth, then saves the number. She sends one more message. "How?" The response comes quickly. "Let's just say we know people who know people. And sometimes the threat of exposure is more powerful than any fist. They won't risk what we could tell the world about them. You're free now." Maggie stares at the words. "You're free now." 4 words that mean more than Briggs could possibly know. She types back. "I don't know how to thank you. Live well. Raise that girl right. Remember Hawk. That's all the thanks we need. Maggie sets the phone down. And for the first time in as long as she can remember, she feels like maybe, just maybe, she's not alone anymore. That the world might not be as cruel as she thought. That kindness exists. That promises are kept. She goes to bed, sleeps deeply. No nightmares, no waking up at 3 a.m. checking the locks, no fear creeping through the dark. Just sleep. Real sleep. The kind she hasn't had in 12 years. The next morning, Lila wakes early, the sun barely up. She runs downstairs, still in her pajamas. Mom, Mom, Maggie stumbles into the kitchen, hair a mess, still in her clothes from last night. She must have fallen asleep on the couch. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Look, Lila points out the front window. Maggie walks over, looks, and her breath catches. Parked in front of the house, gleaming in the early morning sunlight, is a motorcycle. Not a Harley, something smaller, more elegant, a vintage Honda. Restored, beautiful. Cherry red with chrome that catches the light like mirrors. A note is taped to the handlebars. Maggie goes outside. Lila follows bare feet on the cold grass. She unfolds the note. Briggs's handwriting. Neat despite the rough edges. Maggie, this belonged to Hawk. He restored it himself over 2 years. Loved this bike more than most people love anything. Wanted his sister to have it, but she never rode. Thought you might, if not sell it. Use the money, get that alternator fixed, get Lila new shoes, whatever you need. Either way, it's yours. Also, those men from last night won't be bothering you again. Ever. We took care of it. You have our word. Ride free. Briggs. Maggie stares at the bike, hand over her mouth. Tears blur her vision. Lila tugs her sleeve. Mom, you know how to ride. Maggie laughs, through the tears, a real laugh. I used to, long time ago, before I met your father. I had an old Kawasaki, nothing like this, but I rode. Can you teach me? Maggie looks down at her daughter, sees the hope in her eyes, the fearlessness, the trust. When you're older, when you're tall enough to reach the pedals. But yeah, I'll teach you. Lila grins, weight and genuine. They stand there looking at the bike as the sun rises over Flagstaff, as the world wakes up, as life continues. But everything is different now. Somewhere out on the highway, 6 Harleys ride, heading wherever the road takes them. Montana maybe, or New Mexico, or just riding in circles because that's what they do. That's who they are. But they carry something new. The knowledge that Maggie Porter and her daughter are safe, protected, family. And in the world of the Hells Angels, family is everything. Weeks pass, life returns to a new normal. Maggie works her shifts at the hospital and the grocery store. Lila goes to school, does homework, draws constantly. But things are different. Maggie doesn't flinch at loud noises anymore. Doesn't check over her shoulder when she walks to her car at night. The constant low-level fear that lived in her chest for 12 years has loosened its grip. Not gone completely, but manageable now, bearable. Lila draws constantly. Wings and motorcycles and fierce-looking men with kind eyes. She fills 3 sketchbooks in a month. Her teacher notices. Enters one of her drawings in a statewide competition. Lila wins 3rd place. At school, when kids ask about the motorcycle in her drawings, she says proudly, "Those are my uncles. They're heroes." The other kids don't believe her at first, until one of them Googles Hells Angels Flagstaff and finds social media posts from that night. Video of 6 motorcycles lined up on Maple Street, headlights blazing, the ceremony. After that, nobody questions Lila. One afternoon, a package arrives. No return address, just Maggie's name and address in careful block letters. Maggie brings it inside, opens it carefully. Inside, 6 patches, each one embroidered with Phoenix chapter and a name. Briggs, Wade, Cody, Jackson, Marcus, Tommy, and a note. For your wall, so you never forget, you're always welcome on the road with us. The door we spoke of has been permanently closed. Those men won't be a problem anymore. We made absolutely certain. Stay safe. Stay strong. Remember, you're not alone. Your family. Maggie's hands shake as she reads it. She shows Lila. Lila's eyes go wide. We can put them up. Yeah, we can. They go to the craft store, buy frames, proper ones. Not cheap plastic, but real wood frames with glass. They frame each patch individually, hang them in the living room in a perfect row, a place of honor, above the couch where anyone who visits will see them immediately. Hawk's patch gets its own special frame, dead center, larger than the others. Maggie takes a photo and texts it to the number Briggs gave her. Just the photo. No words needed. A reply comes almost immediately. Looks perfect. Hawk would be proud. So are we. Maggie stares at those words for a long time, then saves the photo, prints it, puts it in her own wallet. A reminder. A talisman. Proof that good things exist in the world. That night, she and Lila sit on the porch. Stars overhead. The desert air cool and clean. The kind of night that makes you believe in second chances. Mom, Lila asks, yeah, baby. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Maggie thinks, long and hard, watching the stars, feeling the weight of years falling away. I'd tell her that the kindness you put into the world doesn't disappear. It comes back. Maybe not right away, maybe not how you expect, but it always, always comes back. And when it does, it's bigger than what you gave, stronger, more beautiful. Lila nods slowly, processing this wisdom. I think Uncle Hawk would agree. Yeah, Maggie says softly, I think he would. They sit in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes when people feel truly safe, when the past has been faced, when the future holds possibility instead of fear. A few weeks later, Maggie does something she hasn't done in years. She takes Hawk's motorcycle out, just a short ride at first, around the neighborhood, relearning the feel of it, the balance, the way the engine responds to her touch, the freedom of the open road beneath her. She's rusty, uncertain, but it comes back faster than she expected. Muscle memory, soul memory, the second time she rides farther, out to the edge of town where the desert opens up and the road stretches to the horizon. The third time she takes Route 89, the same road where Briggs and his crew found her that night. She rides to the spot, pulls over, turns off the engine, and she sits there, looking out at the vast Arizona landscape, the red rocks, the endless sky, the beauty that exists alongside the danger. She thinks about Hawk, about that night 12 years ago when she made a choice that changed everything, about opening her door instead of hiding, about looking killers in the eye and lying to save a life. She thinks about Briggs and his crew, about how they appeared exactly when she needed them most, about the promise they kept, about the family they became. And she thinks about Lila, about the daughter she's raising to be brave and kind and unafraid, about the world she's trying to build for her. One where kindness matters, where promises are kept, where heroes exist. Maggie takes a deep breath, closes her eyes, and whispers to the wind, thank you, Hawk, for reminding me that I was brave, for believing I was worth saving, for keeping your promise even after you were gone. The wind carries her words away into the desert, into the sky, into whatever comes after. When she opens her eyes, she feels lighter, like something heavy she's been carrying for 12 years has finally been set down. Not forgotten, never forgotten, but no longer a burden, now a badge, a story, a part of who she is. She gets back on the bike, rides home, smiling the whole way. Lila is waiting on the porch when she pulls up, sitting on the steps with her sketchbook, drawing. How was it? Lila asks, eyes bright with curiosity. It was perfect, Maggie says, and means it. That night, as Maggie tucks Lila into bed, her daughter looks up at her with serious eyes, the kind of seriousness only children can manage, pure and unfiltered. Mom, bum. Yeah, baby. I'm not scared anymore. Maggie's throat tightens. Scared of what, sweetheart? Of anything. Because I know that if something bad happens, there are people who will help us, like Mr. Briggs and his friends. And I know that you'll always protect me. And I know that I can be brave like you. Maggie has to sit down on the edge of the bed. The words hit her like a physical force. All the worry, all the fear, all the nights wondering if she was enough, if she could keep her daughter safe, if she was doing it right. And here's Lila, 9 years old, telling her she feels safe, feels protected, feels brave. We're not alone anymore, are we? Lila continues. We never were, we just didn't know it. Maggie blinks back tears. No, sweetheart, I guess we weren't. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. So much, more than anything in this world. Lila yawns, closes her eyes. Good night. Good night, my brave girl. Maggie turns off the light. But before she leaves, she looks back at her daughter, at the small helmet on the nightstand, at the drawing of Briggs taped to the wall, at this child she brought into the world and is raising against all odds. And she makes a silent promise to never hide from her past again, to teach her daughter that kindness matters more than safety, that bravery isn't the absence of fear, but doing what's right despite it, to live a life Hawk would be proud of, to honor the gifts she's been given, to remember that she is not alone, that she never was, that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up when you need them, the people who keep their promises, the people who see you at your worst and choose to stand with you anyway. Downstairs, Maggie sits at the kitchen table, the patches on the wall across from her, Hawk's patch in its special frame. She opens her laptop, starts typing an email to the nursing program at Northern Arizona University. She's been thinking about this for weeks, going back to school, getting her RN license, maybe even becoming a nurse practitioner someday, maybe opening her own clinic, helping people the way she helped Hawk. It'll be hard, working full-time and going to school and raising Lila, but she can do it. She knows she can, because she's already done harder things. She's already faced down killers and saved a life and rebuilt herself from nothing. What's a few years of school compared to that? She hits send on the email, closes the laptop, smiles. The future, for the first time in longer than she can remember, looks bright. And somewhere out on the highway under the same stars, Briggs rides alone. He thinks about Maggie and Lila, about the look in their eyes when they realized they weren't alone, about the way Lila held that helmet like it was the most precious thing in the world, about the strength in Maggie's voice when she stood up to those men. He thinks about Hawk, about the brother he lost, about the promise they made, about keeping faith even when it seems impossible. And he smiles, because this is what it's all about, not the bikes, not the leather, not the reputation or the fear or the respect. It's about the people you protect, the debts you honor, the family you choose, the promises you keep. He twists the throttle. The Harley roars beneath him, and he rides on, into the night, into the unknown, into whatever comes next. But always, always with the memory of a woman who saved one of his brothers, and a little girl who reminded him why any of it matters. The desert wind howls, stars shine bright enough to navigate by, the road stretches forever in both directions. And in a small house in Flagstaff, two people sleep soundly, safe, protected, loved, because the angels of steel and leather are watching, and they always will be. Months turn into a year. Maggie finishes her first semester of nursing school, passes with honors. The instructors are impressed. A single mother working 2 jobs and still acing every exam. Lila turns 10, has her first art show at school, sells 3 drawings, uses the money to buy her mom flowers. The vintage Honda sits in the garage. Maggie rides it every Sunday. Sometimes Lila comes along on the back holding tight, laughing into the wind, learning to lean into the curves, learning to trust the road. They never see the Hells Angels again in person, but they don't need to. Because on quiet nights when the desert wind blows just right, they hear it, the distant rumble of engines, faint, far away, but unmistakable. And they know they're still out there, still riding, still protecting, still keeping promises, still family. One evening, Lila and Maggie are making dinner together. Spaghetti, Lila's favorite. Maggie teaching her daughter how to make the sauce from scratch, the way Maggie's own mother taught her back before everything got complicated. Mom, Lila says, stirring the pot carefully, do you think Mr. Briggs ever thinks about us? Maggie looks at her daughter, at the girl who's grown so much in the past year, who's braver and stronger and more certain of her place in the world. Yeah, Maggie says, I think he does. Do you think we'll ever see him again? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't that make you sad? No, baby, it doesn't. Why not? Because the most important thing isn't whether we see them again. It's that we know they exist, that there are people in this world who keep their promises, who protect those who need protecting, who believe in loyalty and honor and doing the right thing even when it's hard, even when it costs them something. Lila thinks about this, nods slowly. That's enough. Yes, sweetheart, that's enough. More than enough. They eat dinner, talk about Lila's upcoming birthday party, about Maggie's exam next week, about the new bike helmet Maggie's been saving up for, pink with purple flowers. Lila picked it out herself. Normal things, happy things, the kind of things that wouldn't have been possible a year ago, that seemed impossible for 12 years before that. But they're possible now. That night, Maggie stands in her bedroom, looking at the tattoo on her wrist, the skull with wings, the crack on the right wing where the needle slipped. For years she hid it, covered it with long sleeves even in summer, tried to forget what it meant, tried to pretend it wasn't there. But now she looks at it differently. It's not a reminder of fear. It's a badge of honor. Proof that she did something brave when it mattered most. Proof that kindness is never wasted. Proof that she's stronger than she ever knew. She traces the lines with her finger, smiles, thinks about getting a new tattoo someday. Maybe wings on her shoulder blade, or Lila's name over her heart. Something to mark this new beginning, this second chance. And somewhere far away on a long stretch of desert highway, under a sky full of stars, Briggs does the same thing. Traces the skull and wings on his own arm. Thinks about Maggie Porter, about the choice she made 12 years ago that saved Hawk's life, about the daughter she's raising with such fierce love, about the promise he kept. And he knows with absolute certainty that Hawk's last wish has been fulfilled. The woman who saved his life is safe, protected, thriving, building a future instead of hiding from the past. And that's all that matters. The desert wind howls its eternal song. Stars shine like diamonds scattered across black velvet. The road stretches forever, promising freedom to anyone brave enough to ride it. And in a small house in Flagstaff, two people sleep soundly. Safe, protected, loved, free. Because the angels of steel and leather are watching. And they always will be.